Welcome back to Shining from Within, the podcast where we explore the infinite amount of power and potential that lies within each and every one of us. I am your host with the most, Genevieve, and today's episode is entitled Do Not Drop the Message. I believe this episode is going to be one of those episodes that you cannot easily forget because it's based on a real life story, a very, very special story about a pigeon. Yes, you heard me right, a pigeon. Not a man, not a soldier, but a pigeon. So some of you might be wondering what a pigeon is. Just for clarity's sake, a pigeon is, it's a class or a form of a bird. I think you can just Google it just to see what I'm referring to. So in this case, it's one of those stories. It's a fact is stranger than fiction type of story because we're talking about a pigeon named, wait for it, Cher Ami. So that's a French term that actually refers to dear friend, which is very special. So this bird or this pigeon was given the name Cher Ami, and that term means dear friend. And you're going to see how, like there's that Latin term that says nomen acqui omen, which also refers to one's name is one's omen. And I feel like that really played on so well, so beautifully in this story because of, the deeds, the courageous acts or deeds of this pigeon. Not a man, but a pigeon. So I'll take you back to World War One. There was, like a group of soldiers trapped behind enemy lines, cut off, surrounded. And to make matters worse, their own side didn't realize that they were there. I believe, this must have been a scary time, and as tumultuous as war can get, there might have been some form of confusion. Just imagine, you're fighting for your life, and the very people who are supposed to protect you are the ones hurting you. So they had tried, to get messages across. And one thing I must mention is during those times, during war times, they used different forms of communication, but the use of pigeons was, I think, one of the most reliable ones because, you could not hack a pigeon, you could not change the message. So I believe I got a sense that, messages that were delivered by pigeons were trusted because of how unhackable or incorruptible pigeons were. So in the story, there's no mention of the exact number of pigeons that they had, but let's use the number 4. They had 4 pigeons. They sent the first one to their side. The point was to inform their friends or their colleagues on their side to say, stop shooting at us. It's us. We are the ones on the other side. Like a ceasefire of some sort. The first pigeon they sent was shot down. Message not delivered. The second pigeon they sent, shot down as well. Then the third. Then they remained with the last pigeon, Cher Ami. And at this point, I can only imagine this was a desperate time. Hoping, I think this was their last hope, literally last hope, last chance, because they were going to be killed. So they released Cher Ami. And they wrote, a final message, a desperate message, basically telling their colleagues or their friends, please stop, you are killing us. and they released it. And like clockwork, the pigeon was shot, badly wounded, but somehow it kept on flying. There are accounts that say it was shot in one eye, one side of the eye blown off. It was like blind in one eye. It kept on flying. Shot one, I think 1 foot or something, one leg shot off. It kept on flying. This is, like that mic drop moment. It kept on flying. It was short, wounded, but it kept on flying through the pain, the confusion, and everything that should have stopped it. And alas, the message was delivered. And because of it, the 200 soldiers, there were actually 200 soldiers, the 200 soldiers survived. Their lives were saved. See where that Latin term, the nomen acquiomen, comes into play. Because that pigeon was a dear friend. In a time of war, literally, these people might have thought, this is it, we are gone, we have finished. And, the message was delivered. This story got me thinking. How many of us are like that pigeon? Wounded, tired, confused, trying to make sense of why life seems the way it does. Sometimes even feeling like the very thing or people that we trust are the ones that are hurting us. And yet, there's still something in you that knows you can't stop. There's still something you're carrying, something important, something that needs to be delivered. Your message might not be written on paper, but it's in your voice, in your story, in your experience, in the things that you have survived. And I know it's not easy, because sometimes you're trying to move forward while bleeding, trying to stay strong when you feel weak, trying to believe when you're not even sure anymore. But this is what I want to remind you today. You can still be wounded and still be purposeful. You can still feel broken and be carrying something valuable. Just because it hurts doesn't mean you stop. Because the truth is, the message still needs to be delivered. And you might be the only one who can carry it all the way through. So don't drop it, not because it's easy, but because it matters. Keep going, even if it's slow, even if it's messy. Don't drop the message. Thank you for tuning in.